Hey everybody, this will be the first of two videos that will provide you an overview of the course content. In this video, I'll focus on the genres of scientific writing that we will actually be exploring in depth throughout the course of this course. And in the next video, I'll provide some more detail on some genres of scientific writing that we will not be covering in greater detail, but I do want you to know about them, and I want you to be able to recognize them and understand what their purpose is and where and how they appear. So here are some of the genres of scientific writing that I have found appear a lot in different articles and different journals across disciplines, and that's an empirical research article, case studies, review articles, meta-analysis, systematic reviews, book reviews, editorial/opinions, correspondence/letters, news-related articles/perspectives. And in this video, we're focusing on these 6 genres because these are the genres, again, that we will dedicate most of this course to. So let's focus on the first one, empirical research article. We'll actually have 3 sections that will focus on the empirical research article, namely modules 2 to 4. Now, the empirical research article is really the heartbeat, so to speak, of scientific publishing, and the dominant number of scientific publications do follow this format. They're based on original research, and that's hence why. Mostly, research from labs and clinical trials and so on. And almost all of these articles follow the format called the IMRAD format. And you'll see this spelled out 2 different ways, IMRD or IMRAD. The A here stands for AND. And the 4 letters in the acronym stand for Introduction, Methods, Results, Discussion. And if you think back of some of the scientific articles we've read over your career so far, this will look very, very familiar. Now, I do want to say, and I'll go into greater detail in the video in the next module when we actually will focus on introduction, is that the introduction sometimes is broken up into what some journals refer to as background and objectives, which is really the same that introduction does. But it's just called something different, and we'll see some examples for that. Empirical research articles include clear language and hypothesis, aims, research questions, methodology, and meaning of results. And exactly how that happens we'll explore over the course of the next 3 modules. So more to come on this one. Let's look at the second genre that we'll also be dedicating 1 module to, and that's the genre of case studies. Now, case studies compared to empirical studies lack a thorough research design, but that doesn't mean that they don't have their value. They often focus only on one case or patient or very small sample, and they provide in-depth data on that particular, let's say, treatment for a particular disease based on this particular case study of one patient. They're very useful in the context of clinical practice and are very exploratory in nature. They're not without controversy, but I think overall there's a consensus in the medical field in particular and science overall that they can be very useful if looked at in a particular context. Again, different from empirical studies, but also very useful. The next 3 genres, review articles, meta-analyses, and systematic reviews, really kind of go a little bit hand in hand. So let me focus on the review articles. The review article is usually an article that's written by one or several authors who review selected literature on a particular topic. So you won't find a methods and results section in this article, but you will find some sort of introduction and a discussion that's really lengthy because authors will usually go into some lengthy discussions about the different articles they're reviewing on a particular topic. These review articles are usually written by experts in the field. Often they're actually solicited by journal editors to write a review article on a particular topic, knowing that this particular person they're asking to do it is that they are an expert in that area. The downside of review articles, however, is that they're vulnerable to selection bias because the author or authors who are writing these articles can just select whatever articles they think are the most useful and relevant for that particular topic, and they might leave some things out that somebody else would not, or that with a more comprehensive and statistical kind of point of view of looking at all the publications in a certain time frame on that topic would do. And we'll talk about this in the context of meta-analysis and systematic reviews, because those two genres follow a much more stringent selection criteria for what is included in those genres. In a review article, the authors have actually a lot of freedom, but they're very useful to get an overview of a field, of a certain topic in a larger field, written again by experts, to kind of know, okay, what are some of the current hot topics in that particular area. So they're very useful, but again, have some downsides to them. Now, meta-analysis I already mentioned as being one of the second piece in this three-piece in these three genres, the second important genre here. Now, meta-analysis, what a meta-analysis does is it pools the data from systematically selected studies on one topic and evaluates that data. So it actually pools data together on a particular topic. Let's say a particular medication treatment for a particular cancer. One study might have had a very small sample, another study might have had some other flaws. So by pulling the data together in a systematic way, and there's a very stringent rules you have to follow, you'll be able to say something, to make a more general conclusion about a certain treatment method, for example, that one study can. And what a meta-analysis ultimately does, it assesses the strength of evidence present in the disease and treatment, not just from one study, but from all the studies, from the data pooled from all the studies. And it includes everything published on this particular topic for a certain time frame. Everything that fits whatever categories are selected for this meta-analysis. Now, a systematic review is similar to a meta-analysis. And actually, the distinction sometimes can be a little confusing. So a systematic review, what differentiates a systematic review from meta-analysis is that a systematic review follows or really asks a specific research question and reviews the clinical studies guided by that research question, rather than just looking at everything that's been published in this particular topic. So it's a little bit more, I want to say, curated or narrated by the author or authors. It does follow the IMRAD structure with some slight changes. It has an introduction, a methods and result explaining how the data was compiled. And often systematic reviews include a meta-analysis. So the meta-analysis often becomes the quote-unquote statistical method for systematic review. Now, what a systematic review compared to a review article does is it reduces selection bias compared to narrative review or review article. By the way, narrative review is another term for review article that you might see or come across in your work. And again, all of these systematic reviews and meta-analysis are based on statistical methods to select relevant studies, rather than in the review article where the author can fall prey to a selection bias on their part. Okay, so these three genres, meta-analysis, systematic reviews, and review articles, we'll look at together because they really kind of go hand in hand. And then lastly, lastly, we'll take a look at book reviews. And remember that this week, you'll have to select a book that you want to review. There is a list that I provide you with of some science books that I think are really great. I've read most of them. Some of them I've only read parts of or actual reviews of. But there's plenty of others. So if you don't like any of those books, if you have one that you're reading currently or have read recently, want to look at it again, it's totally fine by me. Just shoot me an email and let me know the title of the book so I can make a quick evaluation if it's an appropriate book for you to review. But so there's so much about book reviews that you have to do. But book reviews are really useful, and I think scientists don't write enough of them. So it's a really big plug-in here for using book reviews. So a book review presents a critical evaluation of a published book or monograph. Monograph is another term that you find to describe a book, a published book compared to an article. And they're meant to provide readers the comprehensive overview of the book and place its significance in a larger body of research on that topic. So that's also what you ultimately will have to do with the book review. So there is no textbook in this class, but the book that you are selecting is quote unquote the textbook. You can purchase it, you can borrow it from a public library, from the university library. I don't care how you get access to it, but make sure you have this book with you for the next few weeks to really read it, contextualize it, understand it, and ultimately then in Module 6, you'll be able to present a book review, which you'll revise for your portfolio at the end as well. Okay? So that leads us to the end of this video, and I will see you in video 2.